The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
How can you overcome anxiety? That's the question. Okay? Perhaps that's what you are asking yourself now. How can I overcome anxiety? Is that possible? Yes, it is. You can overcome that. So we have here a couple of tips that surely 5 tips to be precise that surely help you how to beat anxiety. First of all, this feeling affects everyone and no one is above it all the time. You have to deal with anxiety every time it manifests. So look, anxiety is just like a feeling. It's just like any other feeling you have. Think with me. During the break I was talking here to Shad, giving an example. Let me share that with you. Imagine you, how many times you have already felt angry? How many times? Have you ever felt angry to someone? Have you? What about you, Shad? Have you ever felt angry?
Pastor, I feel like Pastor, have you ever felt angry in the radio?
Of course. Especially here on the radio sometimes. But
sorry, Pastor.
But look, all of us have already experienced, this kind of feelings and emotions. So when you feel angry about a situation, we are upset, what do you do about it? You have 2 ways. You can choose, the wrong way. Okay, you manifest your anger and start, beating people around you, hitting people around you, and you put yourself in big trouble. Or you can simply take a deep breath, think twice, and move on. So that's how you feel, or actually that's how you deal with anger, right? And this is how you feel, this is how you deal also with any other feeling, including anxiety. Yes. So when you feel anxious about something, the best thing to do, when you are anxious about something, the best thing to do is to take a deep breath and think twice about the situation. Understand, again, we have to deal with that all the time. Actually, every time it manifests. So if you feel like you are getting to be anxious, you don't need to get to the point that anxiety became something, a big deal already. If you know that there is a situation, there is something that will make you feel anxious, what you have to do? You have in the very beginning to start controlling that, okay? Thinking about how can you be free from that manifestation. But no worries, there are more tips here for you. The second one, please. Anxiety is a fear. You understand much better now. And to overcome this fear, you need to face it. Doubt your doubts. Repeat after me, please. Doubt my doubts. Repeat after me. Doubt my doubts. Yes, this is what you have to do. You have to doubt your doubts. Let's continue. Doubt your doubts and question your fears every single time. Look, there will be moments, and most of the times you are anxious about something. Now you understand that anxiety is a manifestation that comes from fear. Yes? So, if you now you know that anxiety is a fear, is not that fear that will make you feel like scared of something, but is that fear that will demand, an action, something that you had to take an action, in that moment. It's a fear. It's also a fear. So, what is the tip now? Doubt your doubts. If you are in a situation and you don't know what to do in that situation. If you are, for example, in a particular situation in your relationship, let's say, for instance, you found out that your partner, is not being faithful, is cheating on you. That's a situation that can lead you to be anxious, right? You can be really anxious about it because you want to take actions, you want to do something, you want revenge, you want them to feel the pain, you want to speak, you want to hurt because you are also hurt. That's a natural reaction. But just think with me. Do you really think that all of these reactions will help you? You know they won't help you. You know it, right? I know that it's easy for us to talk about this now, since we are not living it now. And when you are there, I know, living the moment, in the heat of the moment, that's a different story. We understand that. But again, anxiety is a fear. The fear of being alone, fear of rejection. Let's talk about the fears that they are related to your love life. Fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of being cheated on. The fear of not being faithful to your partner is also a fear. Yes. Insecurity. Yes, you are not. You don't feel confident about your partner. Jealousy can also lead you to be anxious. It can also cause anxiety. And what is this? This is a fear also. Can you see? So the best thing for you, the best thing to do in a situation like that is to use your intelligence. If you are anxious about something, go to the person, for example, go and speak to your spouse, but not in the heat of the moment. Be rational and speak to them. Look, sometimes the way you look at people, sometimes the time spent on your phone, it really bothers me. So let's try just to have more time together. Or perhaps, your husband, your wife has to stay, a bit away from you because of work. We know that's not ideal, but perhaps that's the moment is necessary for you now, since you are, you have a project, you are building something. It's necessary for the sake of moment. Okay, so is everything is a matter of you going and talk and take a time for you to discuss that respectfully, nicely, and for sure you can find an answer. Okay, so basically understand that, keep that in mind. Anxiety is a fear, and you can beat it. Okay, most of the fears we have, fear is something good, by the way, in the right dosage. Fear is good because fear can keep us alive. Imagine if you live a life completely, fearless. You start walking, in the edge of buildings, and eventually you can die. So this fear is, in the right dosage, is something that will help you to stay alive. But if you're being dominated by fear, that will impede you to live. That will make your life to get stuck, will impede your relationship to progress, to evolve, and eventually you will face the pain of separation. Let's move on. Avoid situations that provoke anxiety within you. Whenever thoughts of comparison are inevitable, remember that your story is not the same as anyone else's. Look, very, very important. Comparisons. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. You are a different person. That's why we are called individuals. You know why? You know why we are called individuals? Because we are individual. I believe the word explains itself, right? We are uniques. Yes, you are unique. Even if you find someone that's physically similar to you, but we are different. Even if you have a sibling, you are different. You can be similar in a physical aspect, but the way you deal with things, your personality is completely different. So do not compare yourself to others, okay? Because these also can lead to anxiety. Let's move on, please, Chad. Fourth, focus on the opposite of anxiety: calmness, patience, rest, and trust. Good tip. Look, if you already know that anxiety is a fear, as we said, is a feeling, manifested by fear, manifested by insecurity. So you have to start putting the focus now on the opposite of things that will lead you to be the way you are, anxious, afraid, insecure. You have to change, you have to look away from these things. I'm not saying if you have a problem in your marriage, you pretend that there is no problem. You fight for it. But instead of thinking, instead of focusing on the problem, you focus on the solution. You may, you are still facing the problem, you're still facing that situation, that unpleasant situation in your marriage, but what can you do about it? You cannot go back in time and change what happened, right? You cannot do that. Okay, so since this option is not an option, so you just have two options. You can just pretend that there is no problem and cover your eyes like a child and there's no problem and live in this in this fantasy, or you can fight using the right weapons for you to see a result. So that's the point. Stop putting the focus on the problem and start putting focusing now on the solution, doing the right thing. That's why we have the love therapy. Calmness, patience, and trust. How can you achieve all these qualities? How can you be calm when you are facing a problem? Maybe you think, but how can I be patient when I'm facing a certain situation in my life? How can I rest if I'm living now a turbulent moment in my life? How can I trust? All these things can be achieved. And that's why we're going to go for the last and most important tip. Let's go. Drink from the source of healing for all anxiety, a relationship with God. Look, only in God you can find, only in the author of love, you can find all those things that we spoke before. Remember, let me read it here for you again. Calmness, patience, rest, and trust. When you are anxious about something, it's because there is a fear, it's a manifestation of a fear or an insecurity, right? Something that is trying to dominate you. It's something that is trying to grow within. And if you do nothing about it in the very beginning of this feeling, of this emotion, that will grow and that will dominate you. Listen to me, that will dominate you and lead you to make poor decisions, will lead you to make, poor choices that you regret later. So when you feel like anxiety is about to take you, stop. Find a quiet place, even if it's the toilet, go and talk to God.
The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.